Alright, welcome back everybody. I am going to go ahead and start on my next adventure. And first, let's get some music. This one is the Creator Kit FPS. And there's not really a tutorial to go along with this one, unlike the Rollerball, which had a lot of them. So I'm just going to go ahead and stream what I'm doing. Maybe you guys can learn from it. See what I run into, and let's just get to it, I guess, at this point. Let me turn this music down a little bit. There we go. Okay, so I have this open up in another monitor, so I'm not gonna have that up. I opened it up. If you guys want to know how to get it onto yours, remember you can go to Window, go to Asset Manager, and you just search for RPG Kit 2D or RPG Kit FPS rather, Creator Kit FPS. Oh my God, Creator Kit FPS, and then go to your Package Manager, and then in my Assets folder, it's right here, and then you got to click that import, and that might take some time to do it. So I'll also another thing before we start as well. When you create a new project on this one, you're going to want to do 3D sample scene URP. And then once again, you're going to want to make sure that you have it in a folder that doesn't have a lot of characters in it, or else it won't be able to, well, open up. And you want to be able to decompress the file. So name it, use this scene setup for it, and you should be good to go. All right. Now, this is the game. If you want to play it, go ahead. When I played it, I learned that if my mouse was not inside of the screen, it wouldn't shoot. So it was actually over here at first. It wouldn't shoot. So and I moved my mouse over, it eventually like snapped inside the window and shot. Cool. Let's go ahead and let's get to it. Let's see. The first thing that we're going to do is create our own level for the game. So it says for the top menu, FPS kit, create a new scene. Yes, create a new scene. And it says when prompted, save as a unique name. We're going to call it Gabby FPS. And then you could probably name it yours. Your last name FPS. Okay. And we have completed that step. Wow, that's a hard step. Add more targets. Okay, so let's start by adding more targets. Okay, well, here's our new scene. I'm in Creator Kit, by the way. I'm in Prefabs and Scenes, and you're going to want to make sure that when you create your new scene, by the way, that you do go to Creator Kit, you do go to Scenes, and you do create a new scene in this folder. That's something kind of important. I had to, and when you open up a new 3D Core URP, you'll have other scenes that you'll have in here, and you want to create it under this folder right here. In the project window, yes, my project window, go to the prefabs, okay, and then targets, okay, and then select germ slime targets, sick, and then we're gonna want to drag it into the scene view, okay, nice, right there, right inside of it, maybe not right inside of it, but it should be there. Now we're gonna move it to a new position, cool. It's only moving it in the X, Y plane. So we can actually kind of like Alt, I'm pressing Alt button here in my middle mouse wheel to kind of do this. So moving it around, cool, cool, cool. And you can also change its X, Y position by, doing this. And I think that's actually probably a little bit easier in this case for us. And see, look at that. You can actually see. Oh, character. Oh, that's not the character. I want the game slime target. I'm Control Z, and by the way, that way I didn't remove the game slime target. Okay, we're good. I don't know if I'm right, if I'm wrong. It looks like it's in a good spot. It's there, cool. And then it says, click play. See if you can destroy it. Ah, you see my mouse there wouldn't work until it was in the window. let's see what we got. Change the target stats. All right, let's click on the germ slime target. Cool. And then all of the inspector elements are over here. This is where I'm just learning everything is. Okay, so I see health point and value over here. And it says make it harder to destroy while decreasing it will make it easier for health. The point value is, I'm gonna guess how many points you get for killing it. So let's make this thing harder to kill. 10. Nice. Maximize that. Okay, that worked. And I guess if it's a boss, it could be 100 million. Okay, that was easy. We are just moving. I'm going to just go ahead and save this, actually, since I'm doing it right at this point. It's probably important to save. All right, create a new target. And the FPS art models characters. Okay, art models characters. Cool. Oh, look at that. We are going to select a germ spike asset, and we're going to place it right there. And we're going to move its Z location. And we're going to move it over here. Move its boom. And then I want to rotate this thing. There we go. That way I can see it. Cool. This says to add a rigid body component to it. So here's our germ spike. I mean, rigid body means it's going to be interactable. And we're going to disable the gravity. That makes sense because we don't want this thing to fall down. I bet you if we click play, you'll see it fall down to the ground. Yep, and it falls down through it too. So we don't want to use gravity. Cool. And then enable is kinematic, so it's only going to move based off of what we tell it to do, right? And it will, this says is kinematic will stop bullets from moving it around as well. That actually makes sense. So no, once again, so we said no forces will move it. It's only what we do will move it. So if a bullet hits it, it won't move the object. So that's good to remember for game design. Turn off the is, or turn on is kinematic, and turn off is gravity. Well, I mean, the gravity thing is if you need it. Let's see, add component again, and add a sphere collider. Okay. The sphere collider. Look at this, says that my still processing. Make sure the germ can be hit, and sometimes called a hitbox. So we just added a hitbox. Let's edit the collider. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to edit that thing. Come on, man. Come on. Come on. Edit collider. How do I move this? How do I transform it? Its center. Center to 0.95. Oh, not 0.95, 0.95. And then what about the X and Y? This is the radius should be 0.5. What? What would a 0 be? And what would a 0 be? What would a 0 be? Okay. So if we look at this germ spike, it looks like it's got a scale of 1. So I'm going to guess that it's got a height of 1 or something close to it. And if this radius is 0.5, if I'm at the bottom of this thing, it actually looks closer to like 2. So I bet you if I move this Y up, that actually looks way better. And then, why is its radius so small? We want it to have a fairly large radius, I would guess. It says 0.95, but I think 1.29 just looks better. I know this is more like this right here. I'm gonna left click, by the way, and drag to the left. Right, that just looks hard to hit, like a skill shot. I guess a 0.72 works fine too. But like you could shoot here and then not hit it. So that actually wouldn't make sense. I'd be pissed if I was playing this game and it didn't have a decent hitbox on it. All right, so my settings are 0, 0, and 0.96. All right, so next up we're going to add a target, and then we're going to add a custom script to the target. Cool. Let's see if we can kind of figure it out. I mean, we've got the skill. We've done quite a bit so far, so let's see. I mean, this is a target. It's got 5 destroy effect. We could probably find some destroy effect somewhere, right? Audio, hit player, idle source. Okay, so I wonder... Okay, so this actually means that the script's already been written. And yeah, it looks like it's already been written. Okay, to make sure the correct audio plays when the germ is hit, in the hierarchy, click the gray arrow to the left of germ spike. Nice. This reveal its child element objects, child of the parent, and drag the hit player game object to the hit field over here. What is that? It's an object. This object contains something, and it contains an audio source. Easy. So I think now is where we start creating our prefabs. I'm gonna guess that's the next step. Let's see. Models, prefabs. Okay, cool. Let's see what the next step is. Turn a target into a prefab. Prefabs are a great way to standardize objects. Extra credit in the project window. Go to targets. Drop the germ spike game object into the project window under targets. Okay, so here's the deal. There are no targets. Wait a second. That's under art. What if we just go into prefabs? Nope. Oh, that's presets here. Creator kit, prefabs, targets. There it is. Oh, I'm so small. Okay, germ spike. It needs to be left click, dragged, and dropped. Cool. Would you like to create an original? I'm gonna guess original. Cool. Okay. Now we have a prefab. Yay! Now we're going to customize germ targets. Or this says design our own level. All right, we're actually pretty far. We're only 13 minutes in. We've done really not a lot, but just add 2 things in here to shoot and mess with it a little bit. Oh. Cool. Let's go. We're going to design our own level. We're going to add lock doors and keys to open them. Turn off the audio gizmos. In the scene view, zoom out so you can see. Yeah. Here we go. Well, I already know how to turn gizmos on and off. As you see here, here's gizmos. I don't know how to turn audio ones off, though. I'm going to guess that it's right here, built-in components, audio. But we'll see if it tells you how to do it. Turn off the gizmos. In the hierarchy window, select level layout. Okie dokie. When you do this, blue spheres. Oh yeah, look at all those. Nice. That's kind of interesting. I wonder what those are. The spheres represent audio reverb zones and audio sources, which are components attached to all rooms by default. These spheres can get in the way of editing the level, so you're going to disable them. That's the audio levels of things. Oh, that's cool. Okay, in the upper right corner in the scene, downward arrow next to gizmos. Yep, that's exactly what it is too. Go down here and it says get rid of the audio source and audio reverb. Nice, I was right. And I would imagine that most of y'all would be aware of this too, or at least where to look, because if that assumes that you've been through my other courses, the creator kit, the crickets that we did the Unity playground, we did rollerball. So if you've done all that, you probably are already aware that the Gizmos is up there and how to edit some things. Add new rooms and corridors. Okay, level layout, level layout. In the inspector window, find the level layout components. It's right here, and click editing layouts. And this will enable the add mode button. Yes, it does. Then click the corridor group. I'm gonna guess that is over here. Oh, actually, something to also note is I've moved my hierarchy over here. It was over here when you do layout. If you do wide, it does look like this, but I ended up moving it over here. It's funny because as you um you do more, and the more cancel what? I guess as you do more, like you figure out what you like and what you don't like, right? What in the world is behind me? What is that background? Okay, anyways. That is quite odd. Corridor group, okay. And add rooms. Okay, so editing layout. Add. Then click the corridor group, and then we can add or room group to add rooms. Okay, so you're going to get either those or those, the different rooms and corridors. Perfect. Note while this is active, it will try to keep Unity Editor as the active window. Okay, cool. Okay, so we are going to create a room that looks like this. Right now. This is our goal. That's our room that we're going to make. And let's see if we can do it. So we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then room. Okay, cool. So let's just speed run this at this point, right? How do you remove a room? Click the room. Oh, cool. Okay. Ah, yes. I can click it with the mouse button. Oh, this is so much easier than I thought it was going to be. Cool. And then we're going to add an L over here. No, no. How do I flip it? How do I flip it? R rotate. Oh my god. So if you want to flip it, you press the R. R, 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 R. Okay. Let's do another one. Left click, left click. Oh god, which one's that one? I think it's this one. Man, they don't really have a variety, do they? R. Check it out. And click, and then add rooms. And let's see. This one's over here. It's on this side. Cool. Why does it look like that right there? Okay. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know why it had that that background and that weird red to it. But you know what? Going to game mode, going out, change its perspective. If you know, make a comment in the video, please. That way I can figure out what to do. And I think that looks pretty close to that right there. Check it out. That looks to be the same to me. Sweet. No, I don't want to save it. I'll save it up here. It's probably a good idea. Save your project as often as possible. All right, add a locked door component. And actually, after we add a locked door and associate a key with the lock, I think we're going to be done with this part of this video. So under prefabs, we can open this up a little bit. This says door. I'm going to guess that's it right there. And key, select the fat blob prefab. This will act as a door, a lock. And look, there's a key right next to it too. They made this so easy. Drag it into the scene view, positioning it away to block a door. So which door? I don't think it really matters, but that one right there looks good. It should automatically lock, right? Okay, so it also... I thought if I do shift, I can just move it over. Okay. Rotate this bad boy over. And then let's actually, let's see, QW. Let's start using our tools. Remember, if you press F, it brings you to the game object, right? And that looks pretty darn good to me. Cool. Okay, so you can see my fat lob. You can see my preferences here, X, Y, and Z. I would, however, recommend doing what I just did. It was actually kind of fun, kind of like going to it. And, you know, working with the controls and getting better with being able to zoom in and out. It's just good practice. Pressing F, by the way, if you click on it, then you put your mouse over the screen, you press F, it brings you to it. Brings you F even closer, right? Okay, let's see. We got a key prefab. Drag the key into the scene room in the room where the fat door lock is. No. Okay, well, okay, so what we are going to do is drag a key into here. And oh, I'm getting better at this. We're going to put it here. That way we make sure that we know that it's going to trigger this door. I'm going to guess that for Fat Lob, there's a dissolve action script, finished action. There has to be a trigger that when I have it, I have the ability to turn off the door. Okay, so we are going to, in the inspector, find its lock component. Okay, so wait a second. We're back in Fat Lob. It says find its lock component. Lock script. Okay, oh, okay. Lock script. Set the key type value to your key name. A Fat Lob. I'm not entirely sure why it will not let me put my key name in here. Interesting. So this says in the project window, select the key prefab. We did. Dragged into the scene room where the fat is located. In the inspector, find the key component in the key type field. Maybe we have to actually give it a name first. In the key type field, give it a name. Key 1. And then here, key 1. There you go. That's why I skipped a step. In the hierarchy, select the flap. I want to say flat bob, but it's a fat bob object. Fat blob. God. Save your game, test it in play mode. When the doctor gets close enough, the name will be displayed. Okay, so let's just test it and everything's good to go. We have done a great job with this particular video. We have gotten pretty far, honestly. It's fun. Key 1. Hi, Key. No, it's too high. No, I got it. I got it. All right. Make sure y'all don't do that, by the way. Make it too high. I am not a fan of how fast that thing, disappears. I am not a fan at all. I wonder if there's a way I can change that real quick. Dissolve action. Dissolve effect time. Sheesh, dude. I want 2 seconds, man. That just is wild to me. All right. 5 seconds to dissolve a door. Oh my god. That still takes too much time. Okay, but either way, that fade in finished action. Okay. We'll figure that out later. But hey, you know what? First video is done on the FPS, the Creator Kit FPS. I hope you guys had some fun. Hopefully you guys as far as I did. And oh, real quick, let's change this object down. You saw how I was kind of editing things, and I hope it's getting easier for you as well. I will record the next video and upload soon. Take care.